Hello guys, welcome to my channel. In the partial empire, the noble house with the most power after the imperial family, the house of Duke Rosenwester. The emperor right hand, and the head of a ducal house infamous for his cold-blooded nature. His name is Lexian Rosenwester. In that picture we saw a girl said to Lexian Rosenwester that just as you said. Your Grace, a girl right now, proposing a secret deal to this man. She was upset and request to Lexian Rosenwester that please help me. Marry me, please. On the other hand, the Duke of Rosenwester infamy began with the fact that he was born out of wedlock. To secure his right of succession, he ruthlessly purged his brothers. A cold-blooded man, who spent most of his life on the battlefield, sending countless people to the graves. A killer, who secretly disposed of forces resisting imperial authority. The emperor's dog. After that, Lexian Rosenwester was shocked and saying to the girl that I marry you. He stand up and closed his book, and say that, in other words, you are asking me to help you divorce your husband. The girl name is Serenial verdict. Serenial again tried to convince him that I promise this won't be a loss to you, you Grace. I swear it. Lexian Rosenwester asked to her that something that would benefits me. And what is that? Serenial replied to him that the mine I own, which I entrusted to my husband's management. Soon, it will begin producing magic ore. You know how valuable magic ore is, don't you? Once I divorce and regain management rights, I will share the mine profits with you. Your Grace. Then Lexian asked to her, is that all? Serenial was shocked and say, what? Lexian Rosenwester came near to Serenial and say that I am not interested in some mine. I want to know about your husband Kalyan Helkar. At the very least, you must have been serious about him, right? Serenial was shocked to see Lexian Rosenwester reaction and say that's. After that Serenial telling him that what happened to her, in her previous life. At 16, I suddenly lost both my parents in an unforeseen accident. Overnight, I became an orphan. Before I knew it, I would lost everything. If my childhood friend Kalyan hadn't been there for me then. Kalyan came in my house and said to me that let's go now. If you keep doing this, you will destroy your health too. Kalyan gave her courage and say that if only I could bear your sorrow for you. Serenial seeing towards him and say Kalyan. Kalyan saying to her, come here. From now on, I will protect you. Serenial tells the Lexian Rosenwester that I never would have found the strength to go on. That's why I want to marry Kalyan. Then Serenial convince father for marriage to Kalyan. Father was shocked and say Kalyan Helkar, you mean that Poliper? Serenial replied to father that he's not so poor as to be called a Poliper. Just a little short on money. Please father, I beg you. Father replied to her that and here I thought you were going to say something serious. Even if you love each other, a fallen viscount's son with neither wealth nor honor. Serenial said to father that if I can marry him, I don't need anything else. I don't even need a dowry. My mother's mine, as long as I have that, it's enough. After that, Serenial married to her first love Kalyan. Kalyan said to her, Seri, I will make you happy forever. Serenial was so happy. In her marriage, Serenial's best friend came and gave her surprise. Her friend gave Serenial good wishes for her married life and say you look so beautiful today. Serenial hage her friend and say thank you for coming. Serenial friend name was Lure. Then Lure replied to Serenial that of course. I want your happiness more than anything in the world. At that point, Serenial telling to Lexian Rosenwester that above all, she was the friend I would been close to like a sister since childhood. Lure heartfelt blessing filled my heart with joy. At least on that day, I was the happiest woman in the world. At the time, I truly believed it. Foolishly. The Kalyan loved me just as much as I loved him. That was what I believed. What awaited me instead, that was far too cruel and unknowing. Serenial drank a cup and tea and after that her condition was so bad. Blood came out from her mouth and she fell down on the floor. Servant was shocked and say Madam please, stay with us madam. Someone, hurry, get a doctor. Hurry. About 4 years after the wedding, I collapsed an unknown illness. And I never rose again. My nanny lying me on the bed, she was upset and asked to me that madam. Are you all right? Madam. Serenial opened her eyes ma say Kina. Kalyan. Lure, please before it's too late, my final words, At that moment Kalyan and Luray reached in the bedroom and say Serenil. Nanny tells him that my lord, the madam. Nanny told him all situation that happened to Serenil. Kalyan came near to Serenil and say no, Serenil. Hina. Leave us. Nanny put hand on mouth and say huh. Kalyan said to Nanny that I want to say my final farewell to my wife. Nanny replied to him that yes my lord. Then Luray came near to Serenil and say ah, Seri, is she really dead? Just in case. Put your hand to her nose, Kalyan. See if she's really stopped breathing. Kalyan replied to her that do we really need to bother? The doctor coming to issue the death certificate anyway. Luray shouted and say that she might not be dead yet. Kalyan said to her that can't you see the blood she coughed up? I don't want to touch her. She died of poisoning, so it's not contagious, but it's still disgusting. Serenil listened the conversation of Kalyan and Luray and thought that what are thy two saying? Luray angrily said to Kalyan then call the doctor right now. I don't want to waste a single second. At that moment Kalyan saying to Luray you know don't you? How long I have waited for this day. You don't have to worry anymore, Luray. Finally, we can live on our own now. You and me, and our child. A real family, just 3 of us. Serenil was shocked and thought that our child. What do you mean? Don't tell me, Kalyan and Luray. After that Kalyan smiled and said to Luray that I will send for the nanny and Benny from the villa right away. We can celebrate Benny's 7th birthday here at the estate. Serenil thought that 7 years old. Then, for the past 7 years, after that, Kalyan going towards the outside and say Luray, stay away from that woman. She's bad luck. Serenil can't believe and think that no, can't be. The 2 of them betrayed me. Luray was happy and say poor Seri. You never suspected it. My dear Seri, I got you a tea said to help with fertility. Drink it every day without fault. Your dearest friend, Luray. Didn't you ever think the tea I gave you was suspicious? Serenil think that tea, it was poisoned. You were my friend. Why? Luray say that since we were being honest. Not once. Serenil was repent and think have I ever thought of you as a friend. In childhood, Serenil asked to mother that can I play with that girl. Mother replied to Serenil that of course Seri. You don't even have to ask. From the moment we met at the orphanage your family ran. Serenil said to Luray let's play together. After that, Luray came near to Serenil and say you always looked down on me, didn't you? Pretending to be pure, to be kind, I have always hated you. But look at you now, Seri. In the end, you have nothing. Still, you had fun, didn't you? Enjoying what was mine as if it were yours. So even in hell, you would better think me, and remember this one thing. The one who killed you wasn't me, it was your own ignorance, stupidity, and blind trust. Then Serenil telling Lexian Rosenwester in her final moment of life, when she realized that the man I loved more than anyone in the world, Kalyan Helkar, had never loved me at all. Is this how it all ends? Everything. She remembered the moment when Kalyan said to her that I love you, Serenil. And Serenil best friend Luray said to her she is my most precious friend in the world. But it all was a lie. Everything they both said, everything they did. They have been deceiving me this whole time. And now they were trying to kill me, too. How could they betray me like this? I would not die like this. I refuse to die. I will take my revenge. I will make them both suffer the same miserable fate as I did. Then she prayed and said to God please let me live again. I no longer love Kalyan. And I never will again. After that, Serenil again asked to Lexian so may I hear your answer now, Duke Rosenwester. Lexian Rosenwester replied to her that you seem to misunderstand the basics of deal. In a deal, what matters isn't what you can offer, but what the other party desires. Serenil was worried and asked to him that what do you mean by that? Lexian Rosenwester put the book on the table and say how about this Serenil Verdelet. I will help you. In return, you will give me what I want. Without a doubt, I have 2 wishes. First is for you to completely throw away that worthless man. And second is, to remain married to me forever. Serenil was shocked and say this. Then Lexian Rosenwester say do you understand? It means, I want you to be mine completely. Serenil Verdelet. After that, Serenil telling him that what next happened after that incident. On that snowy stormy night, I died. At the moment of my death, I learned the whole ugly truth. A naive woman who knew nothing of this world, who didn't even realize her husband and her friend were having an affair. Stripped of everything, murdered, tangled in a drama of love and hate. I was the pitiful heroine of this absurd story. A weak, foolishly soft-hearted heroine. But I will take revenge. I will take everything back. Serenial, pray again and say so, please. God, just give me one more chance. On their side, when I wake up, I was shocked because there is no blood. And my body doesn't hurt. What on earth happened? My nanny came there and asked me, my lady, you are awake. Did you sleep well? Serenial was upset and say, ah, Hina has taken care of me since I was a child. Nanny again said to her that I was just about to wake you. My lady. Serenial suddenly hated her nanny, and nanny was shocked to see that and asked to Serenial that what's wrong. Serenial can't believe that she really came back. After that, Serenial was setting to eating meal. But she was surprised and think that I wondered if I would even live to see next spring. I would fallen into despair so many times, but I came back. Back to 4 years ago. But how? Nanny came there and said to Serenial, my lady. So you were here. Nanny opened the gift box and said to Serenial, please take a look at this. A gift has arrived from Lady Luray. She says it's a tea that's good for your health, especially for helping with pregnancy. And hasn't she been fretting that there is still no good news, even though it's been a year since your wedding? Nanny smiled and say that Lady Luray really is such a thoughtful person, isn't she? I will brew it right away. But Serenial was frightened and replied to Nanny that I won't drink this. Then Serenial stand up and say, I have a favor to ask. Take this to the market. You know the merchant, who's been trading with my father for years. Right. Go to him and ask about the tea ingredients. Nanny was shocked and say, but if we do that, it will be like doubting Lady Luray.
1. In this part, Serenial said to Nanny that you know the merchant who's been trading with my father for years, right? Go to him and ask about the tea ingredients. Nanny was frightened and asked to Serenial, but if we do that it will be like doubting Lady Luray. Serenial replied to her that if you say to merchant that you're running and earn for me, he will keep it secret. Then Serenial going towards the outside and said to Nanny that I am going out for a bit. I will be back before sundown. Don't talk, Kalyan. I went out. Ah, right. Serenial was so upset and think that whatever you do, don't touch that flower with your bare hands. After that, Serenial sitting in the carriage and think that could it really be that I have gone back to the past? I don't know the answer. But this much is certain. I will never repeat the same mistake again. After that, she reached in front of Kalyan house to knowing about her past secret. Serenial said to coachman, wait here until I return. Then she thought that when we would just started the logging business, we didn't have much money. Kalyan overextended himself to buy this villa. What was it he told me when I was worried? Then she remembered that Kalyan said to her that I want to make special memories with you here. You would get lonely if we only stayed at the mansion all the time, right? Then she thought that she yet not once did I ever come here. At first, Kalyan busy schedule kept away, and then I feel ill. But the real person was something else entirely. At that moment Serenial listened the voice of little baby. He called his father and say, Papa. Papa. Serenial was shocked to seeing that baby. At that time, Kalyan came there and said to baby that what is it, Benny? Then Kalyan said to baby that be careful, alright. You will be in trouble if you get hurt. Okay. Serenial thought that so, there really was a child. At that moment Luray came there and said to Benny, that's right, Benny, listen to your papa. You scraped your knee when you fell the other day, remember? Then Serenial remember the last time of her life, when she was came near to dead. Kalyan saying to Luray that finally, we can live on our own now. You, me, and our child. A real family, just the three of us. I tried to not to believe it until I saw it with my own eyes. I kept telling myself it must be some kind of mistake. How could I have been so foolishly? About 2 years old, maybe. Which means, before I even got married, from the very beginning, there was never a place for me. At that moment a servant lady came there, and telling Kalyan about Viscount, it looks like a carriage just came up the road over there. Kalyan was surprised and say what? After that, Kalyan asked to coachman, hey, you there, what business do you have there? Coachman replied to him that my apologies, I was summoned to come there, but, it seems I have mistake the location. Kalyan again asked to him that how could you get lost and end up here. Kalyan angrily said to him get lost. Serenil hid herself behind the tree and seeing all that happened. Then she thought that good thing, I told the coachman to keep my visit here a secret, she sit down on the floor and weeping, at that time heavy rain started. But she can't believe that Kalyan deceive her. Then she walk away and thought that what kind of people are they? Why didn't ever suspect them? Is it because, just like Lorraine said, I was ignorant and foolish? But does that mean I deserved this? Was it really my fault? At that moment a carriage stopped in near of Serenil. Serenil was surprised and thought what's that? The carriage should have. After that a guy came near to Serenil. She can't understand what happened to her. The guy name was Lexian Rosenwester and he said to Serenil that I don't think tonight the kind of weather for a leisurely evening walk. Don't you agree? I don't believe this appropriate weather for a night stroll. Am I wrong? Serenil Verdelet. Serenil was shocked and think that Duke Lexian Rosenwester, why is he here? If he gets involved, things are going to get complicated. For now, I will just try to play it off. Serenil replied to him that I just had some business nearby. Lexian Rosenwester was shocked and say business. Sereni replied to him that it was a pleasure to see you, even under these circumstances. Well then, if you will excuse me, Lexian Rosenwester said to her that thieves are quite common around here. Don't you realize how dangerous it is for a frail woman like you to be alone in a place like this? Then Lexian Rosenwester said to her that hurry and get into the carriage. After sitting in the carriage she thought that it would be much more spacious than this. I can't believe it's his cramped. Our knees keep touching every time the carriage sways. Lexian Rosenwester again asked to her so, what business would a noble count's daughter have in such a remote place? She was surprised when he said to her a count's daughter. Then she thought that come to think of it, he called me by my maiden name earlier too, but I am already married, so why? Then she replied to him that. As I said before, it wasn't anything important. I just got lost on my way back. Lexian Rosenwester said to her that it was not anything important. As far as I know, there is only one reason why a woman would act like that while getting soaked in the rain. Serenil was upset and say what are you? A man, is that why? Then Lexian Rosenwester asked to her that isn't Kalyan Helkar estate near here? For some reason, it's he perfect place to hide one face. She was angrily say Duke Lexian, did you let me in your carriage just to ask me something like that? That is my business. It's not something grace to pry into. And I have said repeatedly, I was just there for business. Lexian Rosenwester can't satisfied with her remarks and thought she was telling a lying. Ellipsis. Lexian Rosenwester put hand on mouth and say that is not something you were good at, Serenil Verdelet. If it truly were just business, you wouldn't have been crying until your eyes were red. Carriage stop in front of Serenil house, then she say thank you for the ride today. I apologize for being so rude, especially since this was our first meeting. It's getting late, so please be careful on your. Lexian Rosenwester replied to her that this isn't our first time, I believe. It seems you have forgotten. Then Lexian Rosenwester asked to her that are you happy? She replied to him that what are you talking about? Lexian Rosenwester told her that I am asking if you're happy. Serenil replied to him that even if you ask me something like that out of the blue. Lexian Rosenwester replied to her that this is more important to me than you might think. Answer me honestly. Then she thought happy. There is no way I could even pretend to be happy, unless I would completely lost my mind. I am still so furious I can't even sleep. She closed her fist, and thought that just remembering Kalyan and Lorraine faces makes my anger boil over. And when I think back on that child, Lexian Rosenwester seeing Serenil closed fest and say I understand perfectly. After that Lexian Rosenwester going towards the carriage and said to Serenil that hurry inside and get some rest. We will be seeing each other again soon. Whether you like it or not. On the other side Nanny was worried, because Serenil can't come back at home after sunrises. When Nanny seeing the Serenil, she said to her that my lady. You have finally returned. I was so worried when you didn't come back. Serenil replied to her that I am sorry, Kina. Then Kina said to Serenil that oh my, and you are soaking wet. What happened? Serenil replied to her that I will tell you later. For now, just let me rest. Then Kina say that I will prepare a change of clothes and a meal for you, right away. Serenil replied to her that I don't need either, just tell Kalyan, I am not feeling well. After that, Kina say about that. Lady Luray is here. Serenil asked to Kina that, what did you say? Kina replied to her that she came with the Viscount. She said she wanted to have a meal together. Serenil was angry and thought HMPH, so they came back together. To this house. Serenil say unbelievable. Kina told her that she told them that you went to the Countess' estate, that you went. Because you received your usual call asking how you were doing. I couldn't think of any other good excuse. Serenil was so upset and put hand on head, and said to Kina that thank you. I was planning on going to my uncle place anyway. After that Serenil go in bedroom, and sitting in front of mirror. Kina said to her so, shall I tell them, you will be resting for the night. Serenil replied to her no. Prepare a new dress for me. Kina told her that I put it in the table drawer, the item you mentioned this morning. After that, Serenil thought how should I get my revenge? Should I expose them? If it becomes known that Luray, a commoner, had an affair with a nobleman, she would not be able to escape punishment. She say, in any case, I should tell uncle about this, and we can discuss what to do from there. After that she put this letter in her cabinet. At that moment, Kalyan and Luray came in her bedroom. Then Luray say oh, Sari. I heard you went to the Count's estate, you came back quite late. I was worried. Serenil replied to her that I am sorry to have worried you. You must be hungry, right? Let's eat right away. After that, they all sitting on dining table for eating meal. Luray asked to Serenil did you receive the tea I sent you? Then Luray smiled and say I wrote it in the letter, but I am sure it will be of great help to you. So be sure to drink it every day. Serenil don't care what Luray talked to her. Serenil said to Luray that you must be hungry, right? Hurry up and eat. Luray was surprised on her attitude. Then Serenil said to Kalyan that, by the way, how has your business been lately? Uncle was concerned about it. Kalyan was shocked and say uncle was. Serenil replied to him that yes. He said he couldn't get in touch for an inspection, because you were so busy. Kalyan eat one bite of meal, and replied to her that what? The mine is progressing smoothly, I will contact uncle myself, too. Serenil said to him that no, there is no need for that. I will pass on the message for you. Just tell me what the current mining status is. Then Kalyan asked to her that, Sari. Are you being serious? Serenil replied to him that of course, I am serious. I need to know the state of the mine as well. Then Serenil thought after all, that mine, isn't he? On the other side, when Serenil parents passed away, in an unexpected accident, the only inheritance I received was the mining business, which was recently started gaining attention. Kalyan devoted his entire life to it. The public still doubts the stability of its income, but the mining business true value elsewhere. The business is magic ore. Magic ore is traded at high prices due to its parity. Before long, magic ore should be excavated from my mine. In other words, the business will hit the jackpot. But I can't let Kalyan have it all to himself. From now on, I will set everything back to the way it should be. I will make Kalyan withdraw from this business. And destroy everything. Everything Kalyan and Luray hold. After that Kalyan said to Serenil but, Sari. You don't know anything about business, do you? Even if I told you, would you understand? Luray said to Kalyan well, that's fine, isn't it? If Sari reports back, you can focus on the business right. And Sari also wishes for that. For her to volunteer, as a reporting clerk. So the business can progress, she must truly love you, Viscount. Then Luray appreciate Kalyan and say that you are a lucky man, Viscount. To have a wife like Sari. Kalyan replied to Luray that I think so too. Serenil thought that I really am a lucky man. Amazing, how he can hide his black-hearted nature and smile like that. Makes me sick. Then Serenil stand up and said to Kalyan then starting tomorrow, give me updates on the progress, alright. Like Luray said, you don't have to worry about anything else. Serenil came into the bedroom and thought, now that I know the truth. It's hard enough just to face them with a calm expression. But this is where it all begins. I can't be the one to fall first. Then she again reading the letter and say I believe, This is something I should tell you in person, but since you seem in a hurry, I will report it in a letter. The tea you entered to me for analysis. It's a deadly poison made by mixing several different substances. I knew it. All of them are tasteless and odorless, and once inside the body, they leave no trace and are absorbed completely. Even if a trace were left, making an antidote would be extremely difficult. If ingested little by little over a long period, no one would ever notice. Truly, the perfect kind of ingredients to mix into tea. I see, so that's why. She said it like that to me, that's you must drink it every day. If this tea is taken continuously, first the lungs will fall, then, over time, all the internal organs will rot away. I don't need to read any further to know. Because I have lived through it myself. Then she remembered the merchant advice that said to her, don't kw what's happened to you, madam. But if you are at risk of being poisoned, I can give you some advice. Then Serenil say that the merchant is right. I am still in danger, this time, I knew in advance, so I avoided it, but next time, I don't know what method they will use to poison me. I will never again live a life, where I do nothing but get hurt. On the other side, Kalyan hold Lorraine in arm and romance with her. The Lorraine said to him that I told you, not here. What if Sari sees us? Kalyan replied to her and say that woman always goes to bed early. She's probably fast asleep in bed by now. Honestly, it's ridiculous, that stupid woman doesn't even know what business is. And she told me to report to her. Well, she is too stupid, so I can't be helped. Lorraine said to him, but it's better than reporting directly to Veers, isn't it? Just think of it as using Sari. Besides, I have already arranged for her to die slowly. Kalyan said to Lorraine that don't tell me, you used poison. Lorraine. We agreed you would tell me about that first. No matter what, that's touch. Lorraine angrily said to him, if you keep talking like that, nothing will ever change. It's not like, she will die right away. I will just get rid her in the 3 years you mentioned. Once Sari is dead, you can cut ties with Verse, and we can finally become a real family. We can't keep Benny locked up in the villa forever, can we? I really don't like it. Kalyan asked to her don't la what. Lorraine replied to him that this mansion, the interior design, everything, is awful. I know, it's re-taste, isn't it? Once I become your wife, I will change everything. Furniture decoration, all of it. After that, Lorraine said to Kalyan that you remember our agreement, right? Kalyan asked to her that what agreement? Lorraine replied to him that you promised not to spend the night with Sari. Kalyan replied to her that, of course I remember. Then Lorraine said to him that I only allowed the first night. From now on, your only child will be Benny. On the other side, Serenil listening all the conversation, that they do both to each Benny. Kalyan replied to her that of course. I don't even feel like it with that woman. She just lies there like a statue, such a boring woman. Next morning, Kina and Serenil came to the bazaar. Kina said Serenil that it's been so long, since we have gone out into the city. It's fun. Serenil replied to her that yes, I wonder how long it's been. Then Kina gestured towards one shop and say over there. I have already sent word ahead. Serenil said to Kina that wait in front of the shop, this won't take long time. At that time Serenil saw Alexian Rosenwester also there. She was surprised and thought why is he here? Then she said to Lexian Rosenwester, good morning, Duke Lexian. I am honored to meet you in a place like this. Lexian Rosenwester asked to her that you don't look particularly honored. Shopping for tableware. Even so, there is no need to come personally. Or is there some reason you had to be here in person? Then Lexian Rosenwester came near to Serenil and sat for example, you came to ask for something, that must not be known to others, so you had to come yourself to make sure their mouth stays shut. Or perhaps it's both. Serenil replied to him that I don't know what you are talking about. After that Serenil walk away and say I have an appointment, so please excuse me. Please be careful on your way back, your grace. The shopkeeper smiled and said to Serenil that welcome, I am Paul. I heard you were coming, so I have turned away the other customers. Serenil replied to him that thank you. Then Paul asked to Serenil that I hear you have a request for me. What would it be? After that, Serenil gave him bag to Paul, and say yes, first, take this. Paul was shocked and sat madam, this is, Serenil replied to him that it's hush money. The weight of that bag means, I expect you to keep your mouth firmly shut. I will say this first, it's nothing that will put you in danger, so don't worry. Paul was already shocked to see that money bag and asked to Serenial then, what's the request? Serenial replied to him that I want you to make silver tableware. But make it so, it's hard to tell that it's made of silver. With your skill, that should be easy. Of course, I will pay separately for the material and the craftsmanship. I will say it again, you won't be in any danger. On the other side, Duke Lexian listened all the conversation and thought just making a set of silverware won't put you in danger. As long as it's not used to kill someone. When Serenial turned back, she was surprised because Lexian Rosenwester stand in that shop. Lexian Rosenwester asked to Paul that I thought, you weren't allowing any other customers inside. There are those you can turn away, and those you cannot. Lexian Rosenwester told Serenial that the Rosenwester family has supported many shops over the years. Well, I suppose a commoner like you wouldn't know anything about that. Serenial was angry and thought that, support, you say. It's just an excuse to keep tabs on the other nobles, isn't it? On the other side, Lexian Rosenwester say to prepare for what to come, the Duke is always investigating the movements of the nobility. In order to quickly grasp the noble movements, he simply throws money at the merchants. Paul was frightened and said to Serenial that my lady, my sincerest apologies, first, I will show you some of our silver tableware. At that moment, Lexian Rosenwester said to Paul that bring me the simplest designs you have, so they can be mass-produced in a short amount of time. Serenial was shocked to listen that and say, mass-produced. Then Serenial angrily said to Lexian Rosenwester that why is that? Why are you investigating just, so I will be the one to? Lexian Rosenwester replied to her that if you are the only one, using specific tableware, it will look suspicious. Especially to someone, you have lived in the manor with for so long. In that case, it's better to just replace everything. But it does make one curious. Just who is that's turning to poison you? Then Lexian Rosenwester put one spoon and say that to the point, where I have to change all the tableware just to avoid the suspicion. Does that mean, you are always eating together? If that case, only one person comes to mind. Kalyan Helkar. After that, Serenial said to Lexian Rosenwester that your grace, you must have spent a very long time on a battlefield. Even, when you won and came home. I am sure, your days were spent immediately returning to the battlefield. You don't particularly in high society, but I have heard stories. Whenever people gather, the conversation naturally turns to you, your grace. But why? I thought you would be heading back to the battlefield right away this time, too. Serenial asked to him that why are you showing so much interest in me? Lexian Rosenwester replied to her who told you that I would be going back to the battlefield? Then Serenial asked to him that isn't that something everyone in the empire knows? Not just me, Lexian Rosenwester replied to her then from now on. You will be the one to spread such rumors. That the battle-crazed murdered, Lexian Rosenwester, has lost interest in fighting. And that, he won't be going to the battlefield for a while. Or better yet, Serenial thought that perhaps, he might never return to the battlefield again. At night time, when Serenial going on bedroom for sleeping, she thought that Kalyan started leaving the house more frequently than before. He said, he is busy inspecting the mines. But that's likely an excuse to be with Lorraine at the villa. Is there any saving that place, no matter the situation? He should at least prove a proper report on the state of the mines well. I don't want to see their faces anyway, so I don't car. Thistle, not a single thing, will be handed over to those two. To do that, I first need to get a proper grasp on the current state of the mining business. But, there's something strange here. Serenial was upset, because she didn't know about anything else about her business. She thought that the breakdown of investment and the investor information are almost completely hidden. Even the list I finally managed to find was mostly full of aliases. Is it really necessary to keep things a secret just for investing funds? But why? I want to get to the bottom of this no matter what, but I heard it clearly with my own eyes. And then she thought about Lexian Rosenwester and saddened that he won't be going to the battlefield for a while. Then, the rumor about the emperor using the duke as a shield to get rid of the nobles, who are thorns in his side might actually be true. For example, what if the goal of the people who invested in the mines was to gather a private army? Whether it's true or not, It would be more than enough of a pretext for the emperor to purge his political enemies. Then what am I supposed to do now? Next morning, Kina was happily said to Serenil, "Good morning my lady." Serenil replied to her and say, "Good morning, Kina. You are full of energy this morning as always." Kina replied to her that of course, I am. By the way, I found a few things yesterday, while I was cleaning. Then Kina opened the box and say that first, there's this. Serenil was surprised to see in the box and say this is. Box was full with letters. Kina said to her that does not it bring back memories. I thought, you would be happy, if I showed it to you, my lady. Serenil bring one letter and say that it does bring back to memories. It's a letter, my father wrote for my birthday when I was little. Then Serenil opened another letter and thought that's Lure, that's right. Ever since, we were little, she and I exchanged countless letters. Serenil bring another letter in which Lure write to her, "Dearest Seri, sometimes, oh, I am always envious of you. I imagine what it would be like, if I were the daughter of a noble, not an orphan. Would you still be as kind to me as you are now, Seri? Since we are on the subject, I will just say it." After that Serenil thought that not once have I ever thought of you as a friend. I am not like that, Lure, I have never thought of you that way. You were my one and only friend. That's why I wanted to do anything for you. I offered you a flower, but you were the one who decided it was a sword. In the end, you were just swallowed up by your own inferiority complex. Is that why she got involved with Kalyan? So she could trample all over me and feel superior. At that moment Kina showed her dress of Serenil childhood and say my lady. Look at this, too. It's what you wore for your debutante ball. Serenil was surprised to see that and say, my debutante. You are right, I would completely forgotten. I remember how my heart sounded when I wore this. After that, Kina showed Serenil accessories and said we have these as well. Even the accessories were all kept safe. Then Serenil asked to Kina that I wore them at my debutante. But why is there only one? Kina smiled and replied to her that don't you remember? You were so upset back then because you lost other one. Serenil replied to her that I remember now. Why shouldn't I all be gone? Kina said to her that besides, your hair and dress were a complete wreck when you came home. At a debutante ball, where you were just supposed to dance quietly, then Serenil remember, and she told the incident to Kina and say that a whole group of boys, bullying one person, and that person saying to them that you sewer rat. Do you even know where you are? Serenil came there and said to them stop. What do you think you are doing? Ganging up on one person with this many people, how heartless can you be? One guy smiled and asked to her so what? Someone like you, who clearly knows nothing, should stay out of this. Serenil was angry and thought that how dare he treat me this way, I am the daughter of an early ranked noble family. Are they all from families of high status as well? After that Serenil again said to them that if you keep this up, I will have to call someone. I don't care how noble your families are. But you do realize, there are members of the royal family here, at this debutante, right? One guy seeing towards Serenil and say how arrogant, let's go. Kina was happy and asked to her that so, what happened after that? Serenil replied to her that, HW did it go again. After they left, after that Serenil came near to the guy and asked to him that are you okay? Guy remained silent, then Serenil said to him thank goodness, it looks no serious injuries. But just to be safe, Serenil smiled and said let's head back to the hill together. After that, Serenil and the unknown guy going into the hall. Serenil thought what should I do? The atmosphere has become awkward. Then she looking towards the guy and thought that why does he look so sad? Alright then, if that's the case, at that moment, Serenil stand up and said to guy if you don't mind, would you like to dance with me? After that they both danced together that night. We were both still awkward, because we weren't used to it. But Serenil really enjoyed it. We danced quite badly. We might have looked strange to others, however, it was so much fun that we ignored all of that. Then Serenil told to Kina that's all that happened. Not long after, the party ended and we went our separate ways. Kina smiled and say wow. I wish you had asked for his name. Serenil replied to her that of course I asked which family he comes from, but he said, he doesn't have a surname, then he just left, so there was nothing I could do. Kina was sad and say that what a pity. Even though it was unexpected, he was still your debutante partner. Serenial replied to her that, yeah, that's true. Well, after dying once and coming back, past memories don't feel important anymore. Right now, I don't even have the energy to remember the past. Kina was shocked and asked to her that what? Who died? Serenial replied to Kina that it's nothing. Serenial think about the unknown guy and say, I wonder how he is doing now. That boy, I hope, he's alright. On the other side, Lexi and Rosenwester seeing the list and say Veers Verdelet, an execution list. Eve since the beginning the Emperor tried to use me to eliminate troublesome nobles. But I didn't want to get involved. I kept moving from battlefield to battlefield, just to avoid the Emperor troublesome orders. I had no reason to cling to life, nor any reason to fear death. And I had even less reason to remain in the Empire, but yes, I am happy. 6 months ago, in Viscountess Helkar. The last time we met was at your wedding, right? I happened to see her at some insignificant party. May, I have a moment of your time. Then Serenial said to Lexi and Rosenwester, it's pleasure to meet you, Duke Rosenwester. Is there something you need from me? Lexi and Rosenwester say Serenial Verdelet, are you happy? She remained silent. Then Lexi and Rosenwester asked to her that I said, are you happy? She replied to him that yes, I am happy. After that, when I heard that answer from her, I lost my reason to keep living. But then, that day, when I saw Serenial in rain poured heavily, I saw her, walking with such weary steps, and in that moment, everything began to change. Then Lexian opened the box, where he saved her one pair of earrings and thought if I decided to stay in the Empire, I wouldn't be able to avoid the Emperor orders anymore. The moment I refused to take part in the war, they sent me this list. I had no interest in fighting a war without a clear cause, but this time, it was different. Then he bring the earrings and thought her name was already written on that list. I have come to fully understand the situation I am in now. Then Lexi and Rosenwester remember the party night, when his siblings beaten him, and say do you know where you are? You filthy parasite. He thought filthy parasite. That's who I am. My mother was a maid in a noble household. I grew up being treated as nothing more than a leech. By the time I was old enough, it was already too late for me to make a proper debut. When Lexian mother came last time, she'd tell him that Lexian, you are also a part of the Duke family, you have to make a debut as well. This is my final request, it was my dying mother last wish. However, my stepsibling, who never missed a chance to torment me, didn't like that. Lexi and Rosenwester also remember the debutante party night, when stepsibling attack on him, and Serenial came there and say stop. Ganging up on one person, with this many people, how heartless can you be? If you keep up, I will have to call someone. At that time, Lexian brings Serenial earrings from the floor. After that, Lexi and Rosenwester say when as I closed my eyes. Her figure from that day still vived in my mind. Her voice faintly trembling. A small moment, she might have already forgotten, but I never forgot. Not even once. Honestly, I meant to return this earring before the party ended. No, it's nor that I couldn't return it, but rather, I deliberately chose not to. If I gave this back and we parted ways, it would feel like the story ends there, but I don't want that.